Hey there, Wastelanders. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, we're going to be going over all the new lore and some theories about what's going to go on with the Commonwealth in the Fallout Season 2. I am so excited and I love all the lore that they're giving us. We're seeing all these new chapters, all these new rules, how each chapter kind of is different from each other, the things that they prioritize. There's so much to go over and I am so excited. But before the video starts, I didn't even get to thank you guys for 200 subscribers. As of right now, we are at 241 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your support and your kind words. It means so much. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. This season has had huge focus on not only Maximus's Brotherhood of Steel, and they have shown us 3 new chapters. The Grand Canyon chapter, the Coronado chapter, which I think kind of is supposed to mean Colorado, and the Yosemite chapter. And there are vast differences between all 3 of them, including Elder Quintus's chapter. And I love that they're showing how diverse the Brotherhood of Steel is. Throughout the games, we've been shown vast different versions of the Brotherhood of Steel. Like in the Capital Wasteland with Elder Lions, they were more humanitarian, you could say, and more helpful to the Wasteland. Or the Outcasts, who are the true Brotherhood, meant to capture technology and protect it from others using it. And then we see this Grand Canyon chapter, which seems to be more rough and tumble. And then the Yosemite chapter being more accepting, having a woman elder. And as we know with some other things that the chapter said, yes, women are allowed in the Brotherhood, but as an elder, that is like really progressive. And on top of that, they kind of seem more rugged and tugged. And the other fashion seems more, kind of more like cowboy-like. Or I don't know, just more like they're out in the wasteland. And I love seeing this, especially with how they act. They seem that they've been so far away from what the true Brotherhood is that they've turned into something else. And they even acknowledge that, it seems. But there's one thing that they all agree on, and that is that they don't like the Commonwealth. And I love this continuation of the lore. As we know, going through the Pridwin and going through Arthur Maxon's terminal, we know that he was pressuring and kind of overreaching with the other chapters, especially because he believes that, you know, he has the authority to do so. He's the last Maxon left. And that leads to kind of the basis for this video, which is a big theory on that Elder Maxon has been waiting for something like this to happen, a civil war to happen. And that's why he only sends out one person, because he expects that one person to get killed so they can roll up, take cold fusion, assert their dominance over the remaining large chapters, and put himself on top. As we know, the Brotherhood of Steel really isn't as effective in all these different chapters. They clearly all have different ways of thinking, ideologies, and the way that they think the Wasteland should be, and I don't think that works so well with the Brotherhood. Now, has it kept the Brotherhood alive all these years? Yes. But is it good long term? No. As what we've seen, it just amounts to civil war after civil war. I think this is the 3rd civil war, maybe 2nd, because I think that first one is a little bit retconned. But I love seeing this. They're showing a totally different side to the Brotherhood of Steel. And I've seen some complaints, oh, all these guys are just brutes. They're numbskulls. Look at armies today. It's a bunch of brutes and numbskulls who follow orders to the T. We have to remember, the people that we mainly interact with in the Brotherhood of Steel throughout the games are higher ups who have to take their positions seriously. They're running a huge faction or chapter. Of course they're going to be more serious, but we're getting a look at the ground troops, the runts, and on top of that, we're looking at chapters that don't really follow the codex, especially during that meeting. The Yosemite chapter elder says, you know, but the codex is up to interpretation, and we've seen all sorts of different chapters take their interpretations of the codex, like Quintus's, for example. He has a lot of scribes that are clerics. It seems that the clerics are kind of the scribes within his chapter, and how I'm pretty sure it's the Grand Canyon chapter, they all seem more like scribes. They're wearing that old-fashioned scribe armor, which I love to see that armor, by the way. I think it's kind of a repurposed recon armor, if I don't want to be wrong, but I love that look. I love the uniqueness of each faction, and how Elder Quintus kind of wears priest like robes over an altered black jumpsuit, or the Yosemite leader is more like in hide, like they're out in the grit, or the Grand Canyon leader with his fancy mustache and kind of almost, it looks like a variation of like Minutemen armor that he's wearing almost. Obviously, he's not with the Minutemen, but it looks like some kind of like Continental-esque take on the Brotherhood, and I love it. It's beautiful, and I know a lot of people have been complaining about what I said earlier, but it makes sense. The people joining these groups that are making up the foot soldiers and the scribes, they're not the smartest ones. They're ground soldiers. They're people looking for purpose, and that's a big reason why these people don't leave. I mean, let's look at Dane, for example. It seems Dane doesn't really like what the Brotherhood of Steel does, but where else will they go? What else will they do, and how will they run from them? I mean, it's valid. I mean, everything's going up in flames, and Dane has the opportunity to run with Maxon, and what does Dane do? Stays back to make sure everything's okay. And I really like this. The characters change a little, but I like that Dane is the angel on Maximus's shoulder. I mean, especially, you don't have to apologize for killing someone. That line made me go from not caring much about Dane at all to what a new favorite character in the show, and I can't wait to see what they do with Dane. But let's get back to the matter at hand. Kind of the main basis for this video, and that is this Elder Maxon takeover theory, I'll call it. So, I believe Maxon has been waiting for something like this to happen, especially with Cold Fusion, and that's why they send out only one emissary. Why wouldn't they send out a bunch of people to assert dominance? Because he wants something to go wrong. He wants the tiniest excuse for them to come there, get rid of these chapters that really don't follow the codex or the way of the Brotherhood like his faction does or chapter does. And so I think that this is all part of like a bigger plan. We know that he's been pushing around, that he comes and takes technology from them for himself. And from what Xander says, he says that they're facing a threat in the Commonwealth. I kind of think that that is like just total malarkey, and that he's just trying to manipulate Maximus in that moment. I don't think they're going up against much. They could be going up against something. And so the Commonwealth is on its way to Vegas in the Mojave Wasteland. It's a possibility, and it seems like something they're really pushing with how much they're bringing up the Commonwealth. And on top of that, they confirm Elder Maxon is still around. They say it right before they start all shooting each other in the mess room. But I think that this brings up and could potentially be how they get to the Commonwealth in the next season. Now, yeah, this season hasn't even finished yet, but I think I see where things are going. Cold Fusion is still a big part of the Fallout show, but they've been hinting on Mr. House and how he wants to get Cold Fusion, and how the ghoul messed that up pre-war for him somehow. And so I think things are all going to start to fall into place. They'll end up in Freeside with Cold Fusion still. Somehow Mr. House gets Cold Fusion. Then the Commonwealth arrives in the Mojave. They track it down to the Strip, and they go, this guy isn't going to have it. And on top of that, this tower is sick. It has its own defense systems and everything. We want this tower. And so they send down Liberty Prime. Why wouldn't they bring Liberty Prime with him? He's a literal death machine robot that took out, like, loads of the Enclave in the Capital Wasteland. Of course, they're gonna still use him. We know they love to use him. The way they use him is they spearhead him in first, and then their troops come in after. And I think that's what they're gonna do with the Strip. And then it'll go into my theory that I talked about the other day, where Liberty Prime makes his way onto the Strip, and the minute he steps a foot onto the Strip, Mr. House takes over and turns him on the Brotherhood of Steel. Would be pretty cool. I don't know if they'll go that way. We probably won't even see Liberty Prime in the first place, but I do think that we're going to see Maxon, and I do think that the Commonwealth chapter and the Pridwin are going to make its way to Vegas, with it ending with Lucy, the Ghoul, and Maximus on the Pridwin heading back to the Commonwealth. Obviously, they're going to hit all these locations. By now, it seems they're going through the game, so why not stop at, like, one of the biggest ones to date, Fallout 4, the Commonwealth, Boston Commonwealth, and then potentially they could go to the Capital Wasteland, where I have a feeling that's where the Enclave is going to come back in full force, especially because it seems that the Brotherhood of Steel has left the Capital Wasteland. So who knows? Maybe that's when the Enclave will come out full force. Hence why we saw the voice actor for Eden on a leaked photo that Thaddeus, Johnny Pemberton, leaked on his Instagram and then deleted because it gave away that something was going on with his hands and stuff. So who knows? Maybe Eden's still around. I've always thought that the end of Fallout 3, Eden gives up way too easily. Like, way too easily. It's just way too easy to win him over or to cause him to self-destruct himself. So I believe that Eden is still out there somewhere. But sorry I went off on that tangent. This is supposed to be about the Brotherhood. But yeah. Trying to go over. I've also seen a theory. I'll try and find the comment. But I like that, is Quintus potentially an ex-legionary that is made a Brotherhood of Steel scribe and then becomes a, elder, and his kind of fate mirrors, Elder Elijah's? I really liked that theory, so I'll put it here. Hopefully I found it. Yeah, I think that could be a cool possibility, especially with the way he thinks. He thinks kind of like Caesar in a way, and that there will be order through... What does he say? There will be order through punishment, I think, or through chaos or something, but that there needs to be a force behind order, and that order has to be corrected, and that's why he presumably stands by the Codex, even though he's completely twisted it. I really like I really like Elder Quintus's character. In the first season, we didn't get that much from him, and he kind of seemed like a crazy-ish older man, but I like the way he thinks. I like seeing from where he thinks and how he twists the history and the ideology of the Brotherhood to fit this pseudo-religious sect of the Brotherhood, which seems to thrive more off this religious aspect and potentially even Christianity aspect. And I hope we get to see more of Elder Quintus's background if they don't kill him off. They had an opportunity to, but they didn't, which I really like, because I feel like he's starting to become a good, I wouldn't say villain, but also villain, but it's just, I like his character. I like where they're going with it. I love the way they portray him and the way he thinks and everything. But that also leads me into something else. Now, earlier I mentioned how Maxon may think it's not a good thing we have all these different chapters who act differently and with different beliefs, but just the only thing the same about them is they just had the same insignia and same outline of rules. But I think that is what's contributed to how the Brotherhood of Steel has been able to survive for over 280 years or around that. I mean, they started pre-war. They're the second pre-war faction. If you, there's some others obviously, but I mean like mainstream like that, or the Enclave, or you could say Mr. House and stuff like that. There's a whole lot, but I mean like organizations that had like real military for, I mean Mr. House does, but you know what I'm trying to say. I feel like without these different chapters adapting to their different terrains and uh shoot these different chapters reacting to their surroundings and the predicaments they're put in form into something different with the same name, but they're able to survive. And do you think that just one single, do you think Elder Lyons, if he was all across the United States of America somehow, do you think that they would all survive if you just left them alone? I don't think so. And I think they're showing why the Brotherhood of Steel has been able to stay around so long, and it's because they've been able to adapt. But adaptation means change. Change from what they're originally supposed to be. And so I think we're going to see that come into play. I hope we get to see that come into play, because I think it's a really good story arc, especially because how kind of favoritized the Brotherhood of Steel has become, and how all these other factions in Vegas can fall, but the Brotherhood of Steel are still around somehow. Yes, they have all this technology and such, but that just makes them a bigger target for someone who doesn't like them. And I think that this is a really good way to show the Brotherhood and how they survived. So I'm not hating on it. I've seen a lot of people not liking that they're bringing this up, but I love seeing new chapters. And maybe I'm just a Fallout stan, but I love all of the factions. The only faction I'd say I wouldn't like is the Railroad. And do I really need to explain that? But here's the thing, I can see why people like the Railroad, and I can see why in a certain playthrough they would like that. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today is the Brotherhood of Steel. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any wacky or potentially even earth-shattering theories about the Brotherhood or anything to do with the show or Fallout as a whole, please let me know down below. If you want to debate about something I said in this video, let's debate. I'd love to debate with you guys. Again, thank you so much. As of right now, we're at 242 subscribers. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. I hope you have a wonderful day, and you don't forget, you stay safe out there, Wastelanders.